Hello and happy April, or end of April, I guess. We're on break this week, and in place of our regular podcast, we've got another episode of Never Been a Better Podcast. Never Been a Better Podcast features a rotating crew of Austin Walker, Jeff Bakalar, Dan Ryckert, and Abby Russell as they join myself and Alex each month over on our Patreon. This episode ran back in August of 2022 and features Jeff Bakalar and Dan Ryckert, and has been slightly edited to include ad breaks. If you want to hear more Never Been a Better Podcast, you can head over to patreon.com/Nextlander, where you'll find all of the episodes and more. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll be back with the regular Nextlander podcast next week. All right. I'm ready.
And then it went like...
It's sick that you have an RGB going for no good reason. Is that just like what's connected to your basement light, or what's that about?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just a light that cycles. That's good. You're listening to the Never Been.
This is the intro now.
A better
we
podcast.
started?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. When I clap, when people hear that intro and they heard me clap, they know that I clap to start the podcast. They usually
that's part
don't
of the
know.
intro.
Yes.
Yeah. What they usually don't
I
know
thought
is
you were doing tech
is
stuff.
The boing boing is.
Yeah.
Oh, so you thought it was actually for something even more important than than me getting ready to start, and that's why you did the boing.
Look, I'm just having fun over here.
Hey, I'm having fun. I'm having fun over here too, man. Dan Ryckert, how are you?
I have never been better. How are you?
I've never been a better podcast, is what I would say.
There we go.
Take it a step further. Jeff Bakalar, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Just a lot. Yeah.
Alex Navarro. Oh my God! Do you have a
Describe
big
for the
pen?
folks at home what Mr.
Whoa.
Navarro is doing, Vinny.
Mr. Navarro is ripping cotton over there.
Can you do that on a
Cotton.
podcast?
Fuck
I
it.
don't know.
We're getting loose, baby.
It's
My
that,
goodness.
Oh, it's okay. That's marijuana. Got
Oh,
it.
my God. What state are you in right now, Alex?
Is a fucking state of bliss, right?
Is that your weed
I don't know
pen?
if it's legal
The
there
altered state, baby.
yet. Okay. I need some latitude and longitude to see if you're breaking the law, Alex.
I don't know.
I mean,
you got
Dude,
a
I've
mug.
got weed shops in my neighborhood now. They are open for business on Steinway Street. It ain't
Medicinal
that medical
or
stuff.
recreational?
Whatever it is, they're selling it, and you ain't got to have a card for it.
All right,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to hang up my call to 911 right now. So, all right, seems
okay.
like you're on the up and up.
Yeah, you
Great.
would call the cops, wouldn't you?
You know what? It's okay. It's okay. He's okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it's actually
Goodbye.
legal.
Thanks, Janet.
Freaked the fuck out in 6th grade once. I was walking around my neighborhood and I saw these two punk kids. They were troublemakers for my bus. They were 8th graders and I was in 6th grade. And they were riding bikes around and they came out in my cul-de-sac. And I distinctly remember one of the guys had a cigarette of sorts in his fingers. And I remember him taking a drag, pulling it out, blowing out blue smoke, and then going like, "Hey, do you want to hit?" And me freaking out and going home and telling like, "Mom, we have to talk to the cops. Like, it was definitely drugs. He definitely had marijuana. It was blue smoke." And my mom was like, "What?" And I was like, yeah, it's blue smoke. It had to be drugs. And she was like, I never smoked pot, but I didn't have blue smoke. But I remember being like adamant in 6th grade that like, how are we allowing this to happen in our neighborhood?
Society.
It turns out it was like a candy cigarette. It's like those candy
It might
cigarettes
have
that you
been.
puff through.
Those
and
are
like
legal.
Blue smoke. Fuck.
The blue smoke, that's the good
He
shit.
was just trying to signal the jets not to drop the rockets. The rockets have been
exactly.
secured.
Exactly.
Those are
There
flares.
you
If they were flares, I would have been like, fine, you're doing this country a great service.
Pop and smoke.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? Doing well?
Good.
Yeah.
Great.
Thumbs up.
As well
Fantastic.
as I can be.
I'm glad to finally get you, Dan, and Bakalar back on a podcast. You know,
Yeah.
just everybody together. It's like the world needs to know that, you know, get this chemistry back, you know?
Yeah.
it never
it's-
left. Anytime we get together, it's like we never stop doing the thing.
Yeah. I was listening to what was I listening to? It was some BS thing where somebody was like, I think Dan was saying that he doesn't scream ever?
I don't think so.
And everybody else was like, no, that ain't true.
I've never seen so
screaming is. I'm not going to do it here because I have a microphone in front. I don't want to blow your ears out or anything.
Yeah,
but
no,
like,
don't blow my ears out.
Screaming is a very specific thing. I might have a voice that carries or something like that, but I don't scream. I don't think I'm a screamer.
Still,
Even in your more technical definition of this, I think you do occasionally scream, but what I do agree is that more often you are hollering.
Hollering.
yeah.
You are a hollerer.
We can split hairs.
Yeah.
But I'm
Kansas,
sorry.
we holler. We don't scream.
holler.
Yes.
I've never seen so many people simultaneously do a spit take in my entire life where everyone was like, I'm sorry, excuse me? Are you saying you do not scream? It was insanity.
That was good. That was you had messaged me, Dan, earlier and asked if Pizza Hut was pizza.
Yeah.
No,
Chinese
I asked
food.
if it was Italian food.
Sorry, yes,
Right.
Chinese food.
Right.
You asked me Pizza Hut was Chinese food. I said
It's
what?
as much Chinese food as it is Italian food, honestly.
And then I said no. And
No, of course not.
And then you messaged me. Okay, I'll tell everybody. So I went to go be like, oh, what podcast is this? And then I tuned in, and Dan's like, I don't scream. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's.
Show me
It's,
any
you know-
evidence of me screaming in all the years of being.
Never
on
seen.
microphone.
I've never.
I feel like that show's slowly turning into the show of like people trying to like best Dan in a way where like they're like everyone's trying to stump him or befuddle him or flummox him.
Good luck.
In a way.
It was the voicemail dump truck. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
not,
fun
and
show.
you know, I think that's probably where it's organically headed, but we have to reel it in a little bit because we just can't do that every week.
That was
week
Back to
in,
School.
week
That
out.
was a show
It's
that was pretty much dedicated to
It's
that.
exhausting.
Is there a format or a show that can just be about defeating Dan Ryckert in something or another? In maybe sort of like a win Ben Stein's money thing, but you don't win any money.
Like Soul
I like
Calibur.
that show.
You just call it like Race to the Bottom or something.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. I like the idea of hosting. Wait, would I be the host or the contestant on this game?
Well, they just have to beat you, and you can
Yeah,
host
okay.
the show if you want, but you have to be defeated in some way, in some challenge.
I think your challenges would be terrible. Like would be a show. Man, what I was just thinking about this the other day. We were at E3 and we were doing something, and you're like, let's just sneak into this thing, or like let's just con our way into this thing. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I feel like extremely uncomfortable. And like,
And that thing, Disneyland.
that thing was announcing at the Staples Center. No, it was I forget what it was. Remember that? It was like the outdoor E3 thing. And
I've done that. I've been doing that since I was 14, trying to sneak backstage at WWE events where I was like laminating my own press pass and trying to walk
Did you
backstage
really?
and saying I was Shawn Michaels' cousin and like getting in arguments with security. I mean, I have a press pass right here. And they're like, dude, the press sites don't make their own passes. The arena does. If you had something from Kemper Arena, we would let you in.
You spelled WrestleMania wrong.
No, I would take like a JPEG from like WrestleZone.com. I would put it in Paint and I would print out like press pass, Dan Ryckert, writer, and I took it to Kinko's, laminated it, got a damn lanyard, and tried to just walk backstage as like a 14-year-old in a Stone Cold shirt.
That's amazing.
It's truly incredible the degree to which your industriousness totally outpaces your rational thinking.
Yeah, 100%.
Served me well. I don't know. I've never gotten in
Like
trouble.
you're so resourceful. You can come up with
you.
these like incredibly harebrained schemes that are like weirdly well executed for things that you could figure out if you spent 2 minutes thinking about it.
Well, I eventually got backstage at WrestleMania. I just had to get a job.
But not with that pass.
It was a long
No, it was a longer con, but yeah.
No, but like in a lot of ways, that sets you on the right trajectory. Like
Did it?
I really do. I do think
I'm trying to do it the right way.
All roads led to that. There was really, that life chose you, right?
Yeah,
like that.
for
That was
2.5
it.
years, and then I got the
Yeah, that was it. There was no way that Dan was going to leave this world without that having to come to fruition.
Say you were backstage at an event like that, and somebody came up to you that was 14 with a printed out press pass. How would you turn them around and or would you let them
while
in?
I was
Yeah.
Oh, I had a fucking situation at WrestleMania this year where I probably almost would have gotten fired if I carried through with what I was going to do. So basically, I'm standing there, and since we don't have seats really, I was backstage, and so like I was kind of standing where all the cameras and stuff were, the hard cam, as they say. And so I see this guy down in like near the front row, and he's like standing up, and he's like blocking this woman's view. And this poor woman paid for these seats on the floor, and she's trying to see the ring. It's like the main event, and she's like, I can't see it. And she's turning around like, please, someone help me, like looking for security. And then finally, some security guy goes and talks to the jerk. And then like the jerk and the whole family is saying a bunch of stuff to the security guy, and the security guy kind of backs away. And then the dude is mad that he got like narked on or whatever, turns around to the woman and is like, fuck you, bitch, fuck you. And starts like, she's trying to take pictures of the ring, and he's like trying to flex in front of the camera and flip her off so she can't get a picture. Like he is like actively being a massive, massive asshole to this woman. And at this point, I'm like, why didn't they kick him out? He's clearly like antagonizing this poor woman.
His family?
Yes, and so he's with like 2 teenagers and maybe a wife, or I don't know who it is. But I'm like, what the fuck? And he's clearly just wasted and like basically like trying to like go over the seats to like confront this woman who just wants to see the fucking thing. So I almost, as an employee, was going to go up to security and show him my badge and stuff and be like, hey, this guy's got to go. Even though like that is so far from what my job duties were at the time, obviously.
Yeah, that wasn't
I was
part
just
of your
somebody needs to save this poor woman and everyone else behind her that can't see. No one does anything. And then the show ends. It was the night Austin wrestled. And as soon as it ends, a lot of people start leaving. I start walking backstage behind like Gorilla and where the stage is and all that. The motherfucker's back there.
What?
And it's like, you can't get back there unless you're an employee. And so I see, and then Trish Stratus comes walking around the corner, and this dude comes up this way. She's a famous like Hall of Fame
I know her.
Female wrestler. Yeah. So this guy goes up and like hugs her and he's like, oh, you look so hot. You're looking great. And he like hugs Trish. And I'm like, how is he backstage? And he's like grabbing Trish Stratus. Like, what the fuck is going on? But she's like smiling. And I'm like, but like in a way that's not like, like she seems like, hey. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Then he walks up to Undertaker and Michelle McCool, his wife, and hugs Michelle McCool. He's like, oh, you look so hot. And like shakes Taker's hand and stuff. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Because like they would have red alarms going out like crazy if this was some dude who's clearly wasted. And then I see fucking Rey Mysterio come up without the mask, like all that stuff. And it was clearly like Rey Mysterio's family. And like, I don't know if it was a brother or uncle or something, because when they fucking when they did the Rey Mysterio 20th anniversary on SmackDown a couple weeks or months later, the guy was on SmackDown like with the family applauding Rey and stuff, and I was like, oh, that was a Mysterio, and I was about to try to kick him out of WrestleMania. Like
that would not have, okay, like morally, spiritually.
Sure.
You would have absolutely been in the right.
Right.
Yeah.
Functionally, you probably ended up doing the right thing.
So wait,
yeah. That would have been like real bad.
So like Rey Mysterio Jr.'s like brother or cousin is a total dick?
I don't know. I don't know his name or anything. Obviously, there's some affiliate. He knows a lot of people apparently. And apparently he was there. He was invited there and got a little rowdy. And that would have been a messy situation.
So I wonder what he said to the security guard. He was like,
probably like, hey, that's my brother. I'm
Rey Mysterio Sr. or whatever.
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
I'm Lou Mysterio.
I'm the middle one.
Don't you know?
Man.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So
what if he had turned around when it was in a mask and just started yelling and be like, uh-oh, we've made a mistake.
Takes the mask off and he's 14 with a laminated badge.
And
he spelled Mysterio wrong.
No, that's great though, Dan. I'm glad all roads led to that, and I'm glad you got to do that. Yeah, I do. I'm endlessly blown away at the bullshit you are willing to do. So
I stop now.
Yeah,
I mean this podcast, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at that. You just told this story, and now I'm pretty sure my lights are flickering, and like there are sirens outside my. Somebody just marched in here. Oh no,
won't end well. This won't end well.
This person's now standing in front of me with a giant sign. What the hell's going on?
Yes. It's giving me the 619.
I don't know what that means, but it's probably bad.
Alex knows.
Wrestling crowds always kind of scare me. I went to wrestling shows when I was in like the Boy Scouts. We'd go, and when I watched them,
WWF, WCW, or like the independent stuff.
It was probably WWF at the time.
Sure.
But when I watched them on TV, they always seem very into what's happening.
The crowd
would be the description. Yes,
in a way that is like, I don't know, like more than like football or baseball. I mean, there you get some pretty painted up people at other
I feel
sporting
like
events.
that in football, there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah,
You get a little less of it in some of the other sports.
Yeah.
Look at all the passion. Like if you go to your average like video game subreddit or forum or anything like that, and look at all the obvious passion that people have. Like, and I say passion nicely because a lot of times it goes into a very like, hey, you are way
by
too
passion,
serious
you
about
mean
this.
like the worst parts of the
Right, there's
the
good
culture.
fandom. There's people that take the
remarkably
fandom too far. Yeah, and like that's the thing is like imagine if all those people on all those message boards could just fill like AT&T Stadium and they're encouraged to yell. And it's like that is going like you are seeing it all in person versus just yelling into the internet void, you know?
It's like if you had like a Zelda review score versus a Halo review score, and everybody showed up to watch them fight. To see
You're going to
who's
stand in the middle of the
really-
ring and announce it, you know, in front of everyone.
In this corner, IGN's review of Halo 4. In this corner, GameSpot's review of Majora's Mask. And then
People are drunk and have things to throw, and
What were the System Wars if not just a series of incredibly bad promos being cut on one another over console loyalty?
All right, which system is Bret Hart and which system is Shawn Michaels?
I'm already lost again.
I think Bret's a Super Nintendo. I think Sean is like a Jaguar. No, that doesn't.
I don't
no.
like Vinny. I don't understand the calculus. Like, I don't like. How do you convert wrestlers to consoles? I don't know how that works.
I don't know. You could probably do
Bret's
it
a
for
Super
hockey
Nintendo
players.
for sure. Sean, I'm trying to figure out.
Gretzky is a GameCube.
Sean's the
problem I'm
first
having
Xbox.
is like the color associations because consoles mostly come in 2 or 3 colors, and most times when I think of a wrestler, I think Bret Hart, pink. Shawn Michaels, you know,
Okay.
like
Right,
red
right,
and
Yeah,
white.
I think pink for sure.
Yeah.
With Hart. Yeah.
What would The Rock be? The Rock is like a.
He's
an
an Xbox.
N64.
He's an Xbox.
He's an
He was on
N64.
stage with the Xbox.
That's true.
He's an
That's
Xbox.
true.
Vader
Yeah.
is a Series X. Just got the
Vader.
width and stuff, you know.
Who's Vader?
Not Darth Vader.
Big Van Vader, he's dead.
Yeah, Big Van Vader.
Kane is a virtual boy.
Yep. Kane's a virtual
No,
boy.
you got to. All right, you're in there.
I think Vader is like an original Xbox.
Okay.
Like his hands are kind of like the Duke's, you know?
Yeah, I think Jericho might be a 360.
Okay.
All right.
Who's an Ouya?
An Ouya would be like Gilbert.
I don't know. Who that is, but
Gilbert?
okay.
Gilbert.
Did you mispronounce?
He was the
Goldberg?
Goldberg parody played by Dwayne Gill. Goldberg was
okay.
WCW and Gilbert was WWF's parody. He was that skinny guy who got scared by the pyro.
Okay.
It was very
Okay.
funny at the time. You'll
Okay.
have to
Who's
trust me on this.
Goldberg?
Goldberg?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Just like
what's
a
the most
high-end
powerful
gaming PC.
What's the most powerful console that doesn't have the best CPU?
The PS3.
Yeah, the PS3.
CPU.
Off
Goldberg is totally the PS3.
Yeah,
it's
it's
big,
a
it's
PS3.
heavy, it costs too much money for what you actually get for it.
Goldberg is a launch 20 gig PS3.
Most of the ports aren't very good.
That's pretty good. Okay.
The best. That was pretty good, but
worth
also,
it. This was worth it.
But also, Dad's like, what? A console can't be those two things at once. I love how it was like, what's one that's really powerful but is also very bad?
Well, like the
in terms of
graphics
the
are great,
CPU?
It's
but
kind
it's
of the
just like you
PS3.
can't handle too many things
I
at once to
guess,
remember
yeah.
too much.
Exactly. I
They
think that's
often-
the PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
they
also
often
had none of the set
misunderstood.
against the locker all the time. It concussed itself every time you turned it on.
Yep.
A very misunderstood console,
Just very-
especially at launch.
Very heavy and like nobody. I don't really
Elusive.
know.
Great car
what's-
collection on that PS3. Gran Turismo.
You know?
Got a car
Like-
collection.
Like the controller, it was accidentally snapping people in half, like constantly when you
If
shouldn't
you
have been.
dropped it on other consoles,
Yeah.
it would constantly break them. Yeah, it broke.
was
Yeah, if you
fucking
dropped it on
heavy
your
as
Super
hell.
Nintendo, your Bret Hart, it would. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't-
you would never use that Super Nintendo again.
exactly. Yeah, this is 1-to-1.
Did Goldberg eventually have to kind of like lose a little muscle mass and then slim down a little bit and forget his backwards compatibility?
Yeah, he couldn't do some of the moves he used to be able to do.
yeah. Just kind of leave that behind a little bit. We're kind of moving
Yeah.
forward here.
Yeah.
Well, I want to not talk about wrestling the entire.
Yeah, sure.
You should not have invited me and
That'd be
Dan on
awesome.
this.
You
That'd be
take it where
awesome.
you want to go.
Yeah, let's go.
Great.
What about keyboards? Hey, Dan, how do you feel about mechanical
No,
keyboards? What's
look,
going on?
It's a very, I get it. That's a very small slice of the internet, and we don't have to exploit that for my enjoyment. So I'm not going to have you
Well, what
do
would
that.
you
Thank
like
you.
to exploit for your enjoyment?
We could do a fridge joke.
I don't.
Tell me a fridge joke. That's not
No,
like is your fridge running.
I don't have any fridge jokes.
Have you interviewed a fridge recently? Are you? Yeah. Do those
know,
still
How's
play?
William Refrigerator Perry doing? Have you
Nice.
seen him lately?
Very good.
Some of that shit was on me. right? Like I definitely leaned into that and brought it upon myself, right? Like when I would go out to Vegas and I'd touch base with you guys, I would do it. I'd be like, yeah, fucking hanging out with fridges.
Is this a recent revelation for you?
Yeah, like
No,
we knew.
not
Did
at
you
all.
know?
Just come to peace with this?
No, well, maybe in a more sort of like publicly acknowledging it sort of way.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
But again, like that's a thing that's followed me, and it's fine. It's all in good fun. I appreciate it.
How about kickstands?
Oh,
Well,
for
look,
like console.
That died down.
Yeah.
That was a flash.
Yeah, that died down. Oh, yeah. I mean, for better, for sure.
It's been what? It's been 2 years
Yeah.
Since the buyout?
since the
No.
since he was at CNET, since he was an employee, CNET employee
Yeah.
number 2.
I guess 2 years.
When the pandemic
there for a very
hit
long time,
and
yeah.
you were out of the office, it was still CBS and CNET, right?
Yeah. So it's been a year and a half, more like.
Yeah.
Not 2. Year and a half.
Time got weird in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's tough to really wrap your head around it in a meaningful way.
I saw Mark at your birthday party. It was great to see him.
Mhm.
He seemed like he was doing well, but he's not there anymore either, right?
No.
Mark was an editor, producer.
Yeah, he was Mark and Nick, producer Nick. Those
Is
two guys
Nick
I
not
work
there
with.
anymore?
Nick left as well. Yes.
Okay, they were both.
Yeah.
Popcorn guy?
Nope. Popcorn guy has
Okay.
a name. His name is Brian.
Uh-huh.
I believe he is still around.
He's Mr. Popcorn to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you bring me
Yeah.
some popcorn?
You have to go to the office. You gotta.
I don't even know where that is.
Yeah.
He's graduated to cotton candy now, so I really have to.
That actually
That's
is
a big
that's an
downgrade.
upgrade.
That's a huge downgrade.
No, come
You have to-
on.
Cotton candy's garbage ass food.
Yes, Dan. This might be the
I agree.
only
He's right.
kind of.
He's
I'm
right.
not calling it like substantive. I just think
No.
it's good.
I think
it's just
cotton
there's nothing
candy's
to it.
rotten.
That's
Yeah.
the point.
It's actively bad. I would turn it down anytime somebody gave me some
Cotton candy, you get that big thing and it looks awesome and you're kind of amazed that it all worked and you're like, this is a marvel of technology. This is how we got to the goddamn moon. This is how we beat the communists. And then you go and you put it up to your face and it just melts on your lips and your
Yeah.
face and there's just rotten sugar
It's
all over it.
Sticky, there's
Yeah.
no flavor to it. Like the idea, the flavor. Like if you get cotton candy flavored Jelly Bellies, that's fine. Because
the
that's like
flavor's
a
good.
pleasant way to ingest food. Cotton
Yeah.
candy itself is terrible.
It's just it's the biggest tease food too because
Yeah,
as
it's
soon
so
as it gets
dumb.
near your mouth, it just disintegrates
Yeah.
into nothing. It's
I
like
had a
hell's
moment
food.
recently. I totally agree. I had a moment recently where like the cool thing, my kid is like very honest with trash food. I think he like has a palate early on where he like won't stand for shit that is like meant for kids and is just trash. And he had a cotton candy experience where he like, you know, we were on the boardwalk. We were so excited. We're like, oh shit, it's his first cotton candy. Here we go. He's going to love it. He takes a bite and he's like, this is the most disappointing thing I've ever fucking put in my
That's
You
mouth.
said
That's a smart
disappointing?
He said he's like I do a
It's a big
bit where
word
like
for a
I put
6-year-old.
very out of his league words into my child's mouth.
Okay.
But no, he was basically like,
This sucks.
this doesn't taste how it should. You know, like he was just clearly
How's
disappointed
it
with the
supposed
whole
to taste?
presentation.
It just
It
tastes
should taste like a
fluffy
giant
sugar.
ice cream cone. It looks like a big ice cream cone.
No, I don't. I think but he was right. It's garbage.
It's
And we're
garbage.
like, do you want this? He's like, no, throw it away.
Good,
you know, like
good,
it
good
was,
on him.
Yeah,
I'm not
he got
calling
it.
it an upper
you know?
tier sweet, but man, I just like garbage is just so mean.
But you said it was an upgrade from popcorn. Are you saying
Well,
that cotton
okay,
candy
but
is
Dan,
better
I
than
was
I'm
making a
always
joke.
gonna
What do
pick
you get at
something
the
sweet
movies?
over something salty. I will always do that.
You were besmirching the good name of Brian, the CNET studio manager, and I made a crack that he got promoted from popcorn maker to cotton candy maker, and then you went on a rant where you're like, "Well, this has to be settled. Cotton candy is inferior."
If you want to
you
defeat
brought
Dan
this up.
Ryckert, prove to him that cotton candy ain't all that bad.
So
I mean,
so making cotton candy, I think, is an upgrade over running the popcorn machine because making cotton candy looks fun. You spin that thing around,
an
and
art.
like all of a sudden you've got this masterpiece of like art, and it look, I made Marge Simpson, and like it's just like the whole
Sure.
thing is cool. It's the
Running
eating
the popcorn
part.
machine's all right. I've done that thousands of times.
Yeah, well, what
When
fun is
working
that?
at
What is
AMC.
it? Yeah, but you like put the oil in, put the kernels in, and then shovel popcorn into a bag.
This is Dickie in retrospect, but we made our own fun back then in that we would, before a big rush, me and the other yahoos in the concession stand would be like, okay, let's see how many of the scoops of the like nuclear Nickelodeon orange like popcorn salt we can put into the thing before somebody complains. Like, and we would like bet on like, I bet we can do 3 before someone comes out. I bet it's going to be 4. So the first rush, we would put 1 extra scoop in there. And no one said anything. And keep in mind, 1 scoop is a lot. Popcorn at AMC is very salty. And we'd get to 3 and no one said anything. 4, 5. And then somebody would come back and be like, this is inedible. And we would take it and taste it. And it really was, it like hurt your tongue to eat a single kernel of this.
Dude,
but like she was the one person that said anything. And I'm sure we fed thousands of people that popcorn.
I'm sitting through Avatar and this is this is inedible. This is bad.
Dude, I love how fucked up that is, and what's more fucked up is how many people were just like polite about it. Either they threw it. You ruined so many people's night.
It's like a $25 thing too, where you're like,
I would not recommend that. That was a dicky move.
This is Present Day Vinny again. We'll be back with more Never Been a Better podcast after this quick break. Today's show is brought to you by Squarespace. Alex Navarro.
Vinny Caravella.
Squarespace.
Yes. Websites. You heard of them?
I love us. I love a web. I love the internet. I know this about me.
Absolutely not true.
I love the internet. Squarespace is out there making it easy to create beautiful, engaging websites for you or your business. Now, listen, we've got a business, man, and we should get a website.
I think we should get a website.
Yeah, this is a do as I say, not do as I do. We have been in the process of trying to get a website. Squarespace has a lot of tools that I have found out from going to Squarespace that make these things easy. They have Squarespace Blueprint, where you can choose from different templates. I think, Alex, you even set this up on there for us during the trial of like, let's make a podcast website. And you, bada bing, bada boom. You made a podcast website. Yeah. You can go there. They have a bunch of different tools tailored to your brand or your business, and it's optimized for every device. You could check out the sites for mobile, very easily switch over to mobile view or go full screen desktop. It's actually, the tools are really, really easy. They have flexible payments, which I thought this was very cool. You can have your customers pay with credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay, all the different things the people want to pay with. You can set it up in Squarespace for your clients. And Alex, this actually tickled me. Did you know you could upload video content, put it behind a paywall?
No.
Yeah, you could do video behind a paywall over on Squarespace. If, let's say, you were making a website that had a paywall video thing, you could do that on Squarespace. They've got a bunch of different stuff. You can set up calendars, invoicing, all sorts of things. Squarespace has it built in. So I bet right now, Alex, you're asking yourself, well, how can I get in on this?
I am.
I've got an answer for you. You can go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Nextlander to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace.com/Nextlander to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks, Squarespace.
What do I feel like I got some fun stories going on in my life right now.
Yeah, tell me one.
Okay. How much you think? Okay, so these fucking bugs, right?
The lanterns.
Yeah.
Lantern
so
flies.
I can't tell. Like I can't understand if they are actively destroying certain trees on my property.
Okay.
Like
I thought you said you had fun stories.
Yeah, but we'll get there.
Okay.
Like either way. So I had no idea. This is more of like a home ownership situation sort of story. Apparently there are like 2 species of trees in the United States that are actively dying off. And like wherever they are,
from the lantern
they're
flies.
just, I don't know if it's related to them. I can't find any conclusive evidence that says one way or the other. But I do know that ash trees are dying.
There's the emerald ash borer. That's a bad one. That's a bad
one. And like
bug.
they're just dying. Mm-hmm. And I can't find out why. All I can find out is like arborists are in agreement that ash trees are dying everywhere. Yeah. So, I'm like starting, once you hear that, and I have a huge one in my front lawn, I started looking around the neighborhood and you're like, holy fuck, every one of these trees, it's the middle of summer. It should be bursting with leaves, right? Every one of these trees is fucking dead.
That's a bummer. This is
And
sad. What are you doing?
I'm not happy about it.
Why
what
are
do
you
you
killing
mean?
the tree? Well, the story is super depressing.
Well, yeah, it's sad when a tree dies. Some trees are also like bad. Some trees are like invasive and they suck the nutrients from other trees. Anyway, I have to get that big ass tree removed. I have to get one in the backyard and then another one they gotta like chop up because I think like animals are jumping onto my roof because the tree's too close to it.
How much does that run you to get rid of a bunch of trees?
There you go. That's what I want to.
I just had a tree removed.
So 2 gigantic trees.
Yeah.
And 1 like serious pruning going on. What do you think?
Okay.
Ask Alex. I feel like Alex is the most detached. His guess will be the most fun.
Let me give you one follow-up, which is, are you getting it stumped as well, or just...
we're grinding the stump.
Get him out of
okay.
Full Animal Crossing shovel in there.
One of them, exactly. One of them, I do want to plant another tree there, so I got to find out like what the move is for that. But
I've got a number in mind already.
I have a number in mind, but it might be all the way off. I truly don't know.
I'm just curious as someone who, like, you know, I want to know. I want to know what people
as someone
think
who has never tasted suburban air.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're doing the same company for all of them?
I was raised in the suburbs, you know.
You were, and you've been to my house. Like, you get, So what do you think it costs?
God.
2 huge. They're huge.
I feel like
and they're taking them out too? They're taking them away.
Well, no, they're going to leave him there. What do you mean?
Well, that's what everyone does with my leaves, so I got 8 mountains of leaves in my fucking woods. But anyway.
What? Oh, you have woods. Yeah.
I got woods.
Yeah, he doesn't have woods. He has, like, I don't know, there's like
cul-de-sacs
nearby.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so the closest thing I can draw on is that I kind of know how much it costs to get a bunch of trees, giant eucalyptus trees, topped around my parents' house.
Okay.
Which they had to do because
Interesting.
They were having heavy rains after drought, which meant that the earth got really soft, and then one of them almost fell on their house.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, so they had to make them less tall because they were going to fall over.
Got it.
This could be way off. I'm just going to say like $10,000.
Oh, my God. Okay.
I was going to say 5.
No. Okay. Wow. You're all.
Are we like Price is Right over or Price is Right under?
Alex, you're way over.
Okay, that's good to know, and that actually makes me happy.
So I was surprised with how cheap, I guess, this all is too.
What'd you get?
$3,000.
Ooh,
that's good.
not bad. Dude, they charged me like $4,000 to fucking like pull a bunch of weeds around here.
Wait a minute, did you find these guys on Craigslist?
No, so they come highly recommended. Here's the thing: we were only going to get 1 tree removed, and that 1 tree was going to be $2,500. And then I'm like, dude, take a walk around the house. Like, tell me what else needs to go. And then one of the other trees was clearly dead, and I was like expecting him to point that out. Yeah. And then he's like, you know what? If it's coming out there to do the 1 tree, that's like the most expensive thing. You throw in another tree, and it's like, all right, we're here. You know, but
I already brought out the equipment, so
yeah, it's like I already got here.
They did half a tree by me, and it was like $1,200. So that I buy that.
But the other thing is you gotta pay in cash. Like if you pay in cash.
Oh, you did find these guys on Craigslist.
No, but dude, that's any contractor.
So
anyone
like
will give you a discount if you pay
doing that,
cash.
Not paying taxes. Is that the deal? Is that
that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Or they're writing up an invoice for less.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
When I did mine, I think they explicitly said, "Hey, you could make this check out to the company, but if you make it out to just me, I'll charge you like $300 less."
Exactly.
So do you do that?
No, I did. I made it out to the company. I was like, "Fuck you! I'm just making it out to this company. We all run a business
wait, are you
here."
liable for anything if you do that? Like, are you doing anything illegal?
Here's the thing. What the situation Vinny is describing is shady as hell because you need to have like a receipt of the transaction on your end. Like I will get an invoice from the contractor. Like I already have it. Right. Well, then you're probably all right. If it says you paid on it, and it's like that's all right.
It was more.
You're
I think it's
fine.
more of like, hey, I'm going to report this through my company, or I'm just going to cash this in my bank.
Sure.
And that's the difference.
Sure.
But like, you know, I don't know. We were just like, we're okay. We'll just go.
What's the risk to you though by doing the cheaper thing?
I don't think
there isn't. As long as he has a receipt for the whole thing from the company that's a licensed company to do the work, he's fine.
Yeah. Okay. It wasn't $300. It was like a percentage less, but it was like, you know, it's like, listen, I get it. You're either going to have to declare this for taxes or you're just going to like push this into your bank account.
All these, I mean, where we live, like, I'm sure it's like this everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone has a way to save you some money by doing a thing that you're not exactly sure is above board, but no harm, no foul.
It's like getting in the cab and they're like, "Oh, look at the credit card machine's broken again.
Yeah,
Oh,
you got big cash.
You got cash? We could go to an ATM and do the thing you do with the cash thing."
There's every cab in California before Uber.
Yeah, look at the machine. It doesn't work anymore. I don't know what's going on here. You got cash? No. Okay.
I remember when the cabs in Manhattan turned to credit cards. Do you remember
with the thing in the back?
Yeah, they were freaking out. They were like, "Don't you dare pay for this cab with a credit card."
I see you back
I'm
there.
like, "Sir, your cab has this amazing new technology." And it's like, "Motherfucker, give me cash." And you're like, "All right, I guess the percentage is just not in your favor, is it?"
Yeah.
And then I think they fixed that. But
So do you remember? You must remember before because I think now I haven't taken a cab in New York in a long time, but you just couldn't get a cab out to the outer boroughs. It just used to not exist. And
Try
now
getting
Yeah.
into Connecticut like I've done a bunch.
Who
That's
does
a pain
that?
in the ass.
Nobody
Me
wants to
all
drive
the
it.
time. It sucks.
No,
A
Ubers are
cab?
fine. Like
An
Ubers
Uber.
will do
But
that.
even
Yeah.
Ubers, or I tried to take an Uber to like LaGuardia or Newark or something from
Connecticut.
They
Well, Dan,
they
you
will
live
call
in
me and
the
be like, "Where are
boonies
you
and-
going?" Because
Okay,
it doesn't
well,
show
I
them.
want to pause for a second and just
Yes,
say I'm trying to
they're
go
right.
from New York City to another New York City borough. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to go to another state and be like,
I'm trying to go
"Did
from
you-"
halfway up Connecticut to fucking
Yeah.
Newark.
And they have look.
That's
the
two
thing.
states.
I know. The first time, like after the pandemic kind of eased up in WrestleMania and stuff, it was my first trip, my first WrestleMania. I got my suit on and everything. I wake up with plenty of time to go. Literally no cars available, and I'm sitting there like I'm going to miss my flight to WrestleMania.
Is there
my
not
first one? I'm working.
Does Connecticut not have an airport?
There's Bradley, which is really far away and doesn't go a lot of places. There's Stewart, which only goes to like Iceland. And then you got LaGuardia is actually the fastest one by Uber. But I have found that if you get on the Metro North, you take it all the way down to Grand Central or Harlem.
Yes,
You can take
that's
an Uber
your
from
move.
there. When I went to Kansas City, it's like 3 hours getting to the airport and then 3 hours getting to Kansas City by plane, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Dan, where you live, it's a little out there. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I've learned that.
So
yeah.
Except you can get to Iceland real long.
No, I sympathize with like the Uber driver who's like, well, fuck that. I'm not driving 7
find one
hours
eventually.
for this.
But I'm not, you're not going to get a
I guess.
return trip that's just like, I just got to find that one guy who's going from Connecticut to Queens.
I do it from Newark. Like I'm at baggage claim. I'm like, oh, I hope someone wants to go to fucking halfway up Connecticut.
I mean, every now and then
No, they
you'll
don't.
catch a fish, but no, they don't
they
want to
do
do
not.
that.
Maybe you get the one guy who's like, I live in Connecticut. Let's go.
Yeah, that's what you got to hope for. But you're right. There was a time when yellow cabs just did not want to leave the
They'd
island.
peel out.
Yeah.
You'd get in a cab, and I've had a cab driver once say, they'd be like, "Where you going?" Be like, "Going to Astoria," and be like, "Get out."
Oh,
Yeah, no,
where's
sorry.
that?
It's just that's not that's not happening anymore.
That happened
Yeah.
to me like 7 years ago. Like that wasn't even like that's a fairly recent thing that they stopped doing that.
Don't they have like green cabs or
They
like
do. They have green ones that are supposed to go inner borough, but like
Right.
those are almost always in the other 4 boroughs. You never see those in Manhattan.
the thing that was great about Astoria and Long Island City at the time was if you went, it was usually at night. I needed a cab, right? So it was usually like 11 or 12, and I'd be like, "Hey, you going to Astoria?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, get in. I live over there." Like most of the cab
Right.
drivers were heading back that way anyway. Because I was like probably 7 times out of 10 their last fare, and they were just like just dropping me off.
There's a
Be
whole
like,
section of this neighborhood that is just cab depots and mechanics. That's it.
right. Yeah. So either right, they were dropping the cab off, or they were just going home. So I'd usually catch that, like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm gonna call it a night. Let's go, which was good.
My dad was over this weekend, and whenever he's around, obviously cabs come up.
Well, you gotta tell the people why.
He just retired.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, he just retired. So he ran for many generations, decades rather, not generations. For many decades, he's
immortal, my dad.
Yes, he's 111. He ran a taxi brokerage company, so he would like facilitate the sale of medallions and insure taxi cabs and black cars, which are basically the sort of short slang for limos.
Mhm.
And obviously, when Uber came to town, it disrupted my dad's work in a big way. But we were talking to him about that weird moment, like when Uber came to town, and I lived in Hoboken for most of the time that I was in that area. And if you wanted to get to Hoboken in a car from Manhattan, no one would run the meter, because if you ran a meter, it would be like $12 and you'd be fine. They all charged a flat rate because there was some regulation that stated if you crossed the Hudson or you had to do a flat fee. So the market was basically like $50 to $60 for that flat fee. So if you were sharing a car with 4 people, you're like, all right, whatever. We don't have to go on the train. We can do this. But when Uber came to town, there was like a 10-month grace period where, Uber was brand new. It was this novelty and they weren't charging for the toll. And they were just like driving you to Hoboken. And I was paying like $14 to get home in an Uber.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it was insane. And there was also like all these, if you remember when Uber came to fruition, it was like tons of coupons, tons of incentives. They would like reimburse you for stuff. It was the Wild West. And I just remember like not taking a train home for months because it was so cheap to take an Uber. And then they started doing like the $20 Hudson fee. And then before you knew it, you were probably paying like $40, $50 again.
Man, that's some of the stuff in Jersey with cabs is a real racket. Cabs out of Newark. Like,
do not ever take a cab from Newark.
Holy
I
cow.
cannot stress that enough.
Count? Do you count Ubers or specifically cabs?
Ubers are fine.
Okay.
Do not take like a yellow car
Why?
away from Newark because you will get ripped off in a way you've never been ripped off.
I live in Jersey and took a cab from Newark and it was like $70.
Oh, dude, I remember I used to like tell you, I used to be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you just not Ubering?
Well, because it used to be illegal. Because at Newark, it used to be illegal for the cars. And you're like, no, what you do is from
this is what I would tell you.
You'd be like, from the plane, after you land, you use your special code word. And you're like, the eagle has landed, and get a car. But then you got to meet them at a departures, not arrivals.
Right.
And you got to like talk to the guy on the phone and be like,
and get in the front seat.
Get in the front seat, and you have to be like,
and
Mary's
act like you know
doing
him.
great, and like be like, okay, and you have to not let him get out of the car, and you put your bags
Wolfie's
in.
fine, honey. When are you coming home?
And then you have to give him a hug and a kiss, and then just drive
Cab or like
away.
an eyes wide shut party you're trying to get into.
Now look, this last part is weird, but if you want to get an Uber, this is what you got to do. When he gets out of the car, just give him a nice fucking hug. All right, a nice hug and a kiss on the cheek, and then you go.
You want to grab his butt a little? You can do that.
Cop. As soon as you give that guy a peck on the cheek, cop ain't gonna think twice about what's going on
Cop
right
goes
there.
up to Bakalar, is like, is that really your husband?
Kiss him again. Kiss him again.
Give him a kiss. Is that really?
Tongue.
That's it. That wasn't real. I'm taking you in.
Hands behind your back.
Yeah, man. It was illegal for Ubers to pick up from Newark, and so there was this whole. But everybody was doing it. It was just this weird thing, and I never wanted to participate in it because you wind up having to be like, all right, I'm not going to actually stop the car. I'm going to keep going. You have to do a running jump into the car.
I'll pop the trunk if you want to fling your bag in there.
It was dicey for a little bit. It was a little dicey.
But yeah, using the yellow cabs out of Newark, you have to stand in this weird line. They have a fare book, which you have to kind of like go and book a fare, like you're booking a horse to bet on. And then you get like a coupon they're supposed to give to the person. And then the person would just do loops around like the George Washington Bridge over and over again to be like, well, it's like $85 in tolls. Be like, yeah, man, because you just keep going through the toll thing. And like by the time you get home, it was like $90 or something, $70 or $90 to get home. And it's like 15 minutes. 20 minutes?
Yeah.
It's bananas. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully they fix some of that.
It is. It's all good now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I
just flew out of there. It's all good.
I refuse to believe that anything in New Jersey could possibly be a racket.
Yeah, no.
No, what do you mean?
It's just way clean. Being a cabbie, the growing up on Long Island, the guy across the street from me was a cabbie, and like I remember he had his own medallion, and it was like a huge deal. Everybody on the block would always talk about it. Oh man,
let's see it.
Yeah.
Show us,
kids.
Show us.
Oh, everybody knew. Like even the kids knew.
Knew
like,
this weird system.
Oh man, we knew about it, like, oh yeah, he's got his, he's got his own medallion. Like that's because he'd park the cab in his driveway and be like, and like even as a kid, I knew that was like, damn man, like those medallions that's serious business. And so I mean, the guy worked his ass off. And
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on in Newark, though. They pushed it too far. That's
It's really interesting, and I think I've obviously a unique insight into that world. It seems like obviously it was super corrupt at some point, and then I don't there's all these like purist people who are like, oh, the yellow cab in New York City, it's like one and one, it's 1-to-1. They're like the Yankees, like people are so horny about like legacy taxi, so that sort of like thing. But I don't know. I don't think cars should belong in the city at all. I think New York it is a very walkable city, and you should not have cars there probably. That's how I feel now.
Yeah, I don't take cabs much, mostly because I'm just never in the city anymore. But even at the time, I mostly felt, unless I had a bunch of stuff, when I was doing Christmas shopping in the city, I would sometimes take a cab because taking all that stuff on the subway was just a pain in the butt. But God,
I was imagining you like loaded up with bags from Bloomingdale's, just like tripping over yourself as like the fucking
he's got
movie snow is going behind you.
Yeah. He's got a Santa hat on, and he's just like wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. He's like, oh yeah, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
The cab finally pulls over, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness. And I open the door, and somebody else, a business guy, runs in and takes
Get
my
out of
cab.
my way.
And I'm like, ah, Merry
Takes
Christmas.
off, hit the puddles, soaks you.
Yeah. That's right.
But then a jolly old Santa Claus comes up to you, pulls you out of the muck, and reminds you of the spirit of Christmas before asking you for $10.
And then we get in his sleigh and ride off. But yeah, I was very much I never had cash on me, but subway. I just did the subway or I'd walk.
Yeah.
Unless, you know what? I'm a liar. If I had to get across town, I'm taking a cab because New York City just never.
Nothing goes
figured it
across. Nothing goes across in New York.
It's not an east-west place.
No, it really is. It's just all you gotta do is add like a couple of things, and like,
everything
we can really
in
solve this
Manhattan
problem.
is north-south. Everything in the other boroughs is east-west, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah, you can't get from Brooklyn to Queens, from Queens to Brooklyn without taking 4 days, and you can't get from the east side to the west side, west side to the east side.
No one's ever been to Staten Island, ever. No one can prove that anyone's been there.
The thing I couldn't believe about trains when I lived there was that, like, all of them pretty much have these huge staircases or escalators that you got to go up, and you would see these people with strollers. You would see, like, a mom, and, like, they would need to get help or whatever, carry this giant-ass stroller up all this stuff. Like I guess, Bakalar, when you was Dylan a kid, was he a baby in the city or Hoboken? So were you having to do that?
Yeah, there was an elevator at the Hoboken Path.
Did it work?
What's up?
Did it actually work?
Yeah, it was always working, and there's an elevator
the
at 33rd, so we took advantage of that. I mean, yes, I've seen that a million times, and it's not easy for sure. There are elevators; they're not as pervasive as stairs,
and they don't always work. And they don't always smell like urine.
Well, it's because there's piss in there.
Okay,
little pro tip. There for you, but no, it's not built for that always.
Speaking of piss,
here we go.
No, go ahead.
I want to page the house doctor since we got Vinny on the call here.
Okay,
and see how you would handle this situation.
Yes,
okay?
Hold on, let me go get him.
Okay, yeah. Bakalar has heard part of this. Okay, so I'm going down to my basement. And you helped me a lot with my questions about the basement before I moved in, Vinny. And so I start going down, and I start noticing on the ground, and I got some like blue gym mats in like the gym area and stuff. And I notice these like yellowish, dry, like quarter-size things on the blue mat. And then I'm starting to see it on the concrete, and I'm seeing like little like brown things on the ground. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And at first I'm thinking like, is this like some corrosive thing dripping from my pipes? And I would look up, didn't see anything there. And I was like, what
pipes above it though?
There are pipes above it. And so that's why the first time I saw this, it was at a spot where pipes had leaked before. Okay. And so I was like, oh, is that the problem? And I did some whole epoxy thing and electric tape and made it better. But it looked weird. It looked weird. And it dried. And when I tried to broom it away, it was just like dust, just like asbestos or something, Okay, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I start seeing more and more and more. And this is like the last couple weeks. And then I really freaked out. I can send you pictures. I've seen pictures.
You don't want them.
Okay. Of what looked like on the gym mat, like you cracked like just the yellow of an egg yolk, but but it was wet still. It was wet. And it was on the blue. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And so we start wondering, like, okay. And I start noticing, too, I'm seeing a bunch of mouse traps on the ground that I didn't set. So
wait, what?
Okay, wait.
Whoa, okay, no, this just threw me for a loop. What the hell?
There's an easy explanation here.
Okay.
Basically, there's the concrete walls, and then up by the wood, the ceiling or whatever, there's like a gap. And so obviously, the previous owners had put mouse traps down, and they had fallen down. So something had knocked down the mouse traps.
Oh, okay.
So I start thinking about, like, it's an animal or something down there. And then I'm thinking, like, this is maybe mice. There were mouse traps. Obviously, there's evidence of mice. We haven't seen
mice
any.
traps, just kicking them down and being like, fuck you!
Yeah.
I was going to say, what you're describing, though, doesn't sound like a mouse.
That's the thing. So I start sending it to my mom, sending to, pictures, like, what is this? What is it? It's like, yeah, that pile's too big to be mouse shit, because mouse poop is the tiniest little thing. I've seen that.
Yeah.
This is, like, bigger, like, thin, stringy, like, poop.
Did it kind of look like bird shit?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like bird shit.
I think so. I think that's
quite a little. I think some pictures.
No, that's okay.
They
it's
are,
like
but
the consistency
yellow.
of it.
Do you have a
The yellow was a
Right.
bad thing, and it looked like a yolk. It was still wet, and it was new. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and what it tastes
there was
like.
nothing above that
You're
spot.
describing everything else.
Yes. So I start asking around, and I forgot who first brought it up. I think it was my Discord brought up that it could be a snake. And I
That's
tweeted
what I was
about
thinking.
it. And I start talking to a
Reptilian.
herpetologist reached out to me.
I'm sorry,
And
what?
A herpetologist, someone who works with
okay,
reptiles.
Gotcha, okay.
Don't
And
ask
I
me
sent
why.
pictures to him, and he confirmed. He said, yes, that looks like snake poop. That is, and what looked like, we thought it might be mouse vomit or raccoon vomit, or we didn't know what the fuck it was. That is urate, which urate is technically kind of like snake pee, I guess. So there is a snake in my basement.
Rad.
At least one. And so
No,
I'm
is it
trying to
rad?
figure out that situation. I have not
That's-
seen any mice.
Okay.
there's-
Yeah, because
snake,
it's
though.
eating the mice. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
And
It
how
could
are-
also be eating bugs, but yeah, that's
There's
the more
bugs
likely
down there for
case.
sure. Yeah.
have you checked on the newts?
I have not seen them. There
Uh-oh.
there are bugs where the salamanders were.
Oh, the salamanders.
And
yeah,
like a
okay.
spider web over there.
You got a lot of wildlife down there.
Yeah.
I do. It makes the workouts exciting.
The real wild krats down there, yeah.
So I
think-
got some glue traps and stuff, and I got some where you're supposed to be able to well, yeah, because I heard afterwards. I talked to the herpetologist, and he said, "Well, that's
Not
actually
great.
like they'll dehydrate and stuff." But I'm down there every day, and I got some stuff that says that like, okay, so with these, basically, you just put this little bit of oil over it, and then you can like let them go. And so like, if I'm down there every day, so and I'm checking
Okay.
first thing every morning, so
Yeah.
I'll just take it out front, take it to the woods or something.
They're nasty.
I mean, there are
Yeah.
certain kinds of snakes you probably don't want to handle, even if they're attached to a glue trap. But the more I'd say the likelihood it's one of those is not super high,
We looked it up. There are 14 species of snake in this area. 2 of them
and
are
you have
venomous.
all of them.
Yeah.
2 are venomous.
what are the two
Two-
that are
two of the
venomous?
14
What are they
are
I
called?
don't like those odds.
Yeah.
I don't know which ones they are.
Okay.
But it's almost. It sounds like it's definitely a snake down there. So like,
Are you sure you
what
didn't
does
like
Vinny?
hold up pictures of their poo against what you had to
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like
Yeah.
compare
Yeah.
notes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So what is the house doctor? What do you do in this situation?
Well, if it's an albino snake, you want to capture it, and then you want to make sure you get its power.
Okay,
those
great.
are very rare.
You eat that under the waterfall before you have sex with Eva?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I do.
I
I'm
see,
not
all
here
right.
to say what
So
everybody
pour the
else should
blood
do.
into a shot glass
Yeah,
and
I
then
see.
immediately shoot it, and then you will be very virile.
Hell yeah. All right.
What did the reptilian expert tell you to do?
Herpetologist?
Herpetologist,
Well, that's the
like
thing,
literally
he
like
told me-
herpes.
Okay.
He told me to just go down there and like it should be just safe to grab with your hand and take it out to.
So it's probably like
Okay.
a garter snake or something? Like a
He
little...
thought it was something like that, or like a black snake or something that was like not a serious thing, and that like you could
Okay.
grab with your hand, or if you want to, a glove. I've actually got some like the stuff that for like old people to grab stuff with a trigger on it. I got one
Oh,
of those
that'll
guys.
be
Yeah.
a fun.
Yeah.
That'll be a
Yeah.
good exercise.
What a
like
TikTok
that.
So that's
that
the
will
plan
be.
if I see it.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
told me like, oh, they like to hide under like big flat things. So I lifted up some boxes. Me and Bonk went down there and lifted up all the gym mats and stuff, and didn't see it down there. So like, I haven't seen it. So I'm just kind of hoping the glue thing works and we can get it out there the next day.
Do you like when you're looking under the boxes? Do you like steel yourself? Do you do a mental vision of it before you lift the box up so you don't freak out when you see it?
Prep yourself. It's like when I lived
Yeah.
in an apartment in Minneapolis, and every single time I threw the garbage into the thing, and like a raccoon would jump out,
Oh,
and it would just
geez.
scare the shit out of me. I mean, not a raccoon or a squirrel. So every single time you lift it, you're
Hey,
just like, oh shit, it's
you're
gonna
in
come.
you're in his home, okay? He's more
Yeah.
scared of you than you are of him.
That's true. That's true.
So a snake, man. We had a snake in the backyard. I think that's cool as hell. Like the snakes in the backyard are every time I see them, I'm like, the only thing is my dog will go out there and I just bring the dog in. But Yeah, I don't know. Snake in the house is I have not had that one. That's like some Florida shit.
I had a snake in the house for like 35 years, man.
I was going to say
Intentionally.
Yeah, like 33 years, but yes.
Yeah.
That snake is still alive.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's we were actually like relieved when like we realized it wasn't like a weird rodent situation, or if it's just like a snake, it's like it doesn't sound too bad, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't like that it like
shitting
pukes and
everywhere.
shits on stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I
Fucking
think
up
it's
my
coming
gym.
up the stairs. It's probably not. It sounds like a snake's trapped in your basement, is what it sounds
Yeah,
like.
probably.
It wants out.
Yeah,
I promise you.
I mean, it got in somehow. I don't think you like
That's weird. Where's it get in? I mean, I guess
crack
there's
in the
gaps.
wall or something?
Yeah,
There's
there's
holes in
there's-
the
Water gets in.
houses.
Plenty of water
No,
gets in.
No, I know. Well, yeah. Still, you still have water problems.
water in the
Mhm.
basement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bet-
Anytime it rains.
If it rains, we got the grading done and everything. It was going to be $10K to fucking waterproof the whole thing, but he was like, it's not. Like,
I think a lot of basement waterproofing is kind of a scam anyway.
well, I mean, he was honest about it. He was like discouraging me from doing it. He was like, you
wanna
don't need to
finish
spend
it.
$10K right now, you know? I'm not going to
Yeah.
finish it, no.
Yeah.
I got fish in my basement.
It's looking nice.
Thanks. Yeah. This is this one like 2 foot by 2 foot section right behind me. It's
Yeah.
great. Alex has been down here. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Is that when
not.
you def jammed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we
Nice.
broke Vinny's Xbox, finally.
Mhm. Yeah. That drive just died.
Just got to turn it upside down like we did for Shenmue.
Didn't work. Tried it.
No?
Right.
This is
Yeah.
a different kind of broken, my friend.
Yeah. Hard drive went.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. It just won't boot up. I got to do some like serious work on it. But yeah, I want to get this thing done down here. Are you glad you didn't do the office in the basement or the studio in the
Oh,
basement?
my God, yes. Like
Yeah.
the boiler
Okay.
being loud and the water coming in
Snakes.
and like bugs and like fuck. And also, we didn't have anything to do with this room here. And it's like, why this is going to be a guest
Sure.
bedroom and just sit empty for like 350 days a year, you know? Like, fuck that. So.
Yeah, and and then your guests have to sleep in the basement. That's all.
Yeah, with the
No,
snake.
we have a delightful blow up mattress. You can ask Mike Mahardy.
A delightful
And my father.
It's
mattress
one of the best.
that we put in the basement.
It's a very nice blow up mattress. I got 2 of them actually.
Bakalar, are you going to do your basement? Your basement's huge. You going to redo anything down there or are you just going to leave it?
I don't know. There's like a lot of things we want to do. I can't really figure out what the first thing we're going to tackle is. We'll probably renovate one of the bathrooms downstairs first.
Dang, that's a job.
You
Yeah,
got a crazy bathroom thing down there with like 18 doors that go into it.
Well, it's 18 doors.
Yeah.
It was a rare thing. It was very popular in Jersey in the 80s.
Door City there, yeah.
Like
So
first
the
thing we
mob
gotta
was
do is
heavily involved in the door industry at that time.
It's a union thing.
yeah.
You need these 18 doors. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Vinny, you would love this. So Lucy James is going to be in town in a couple weeks, and the first thing she says is she's like, because she's obsessed with Sopranos now. She watched the whole series,
boy.
and she's like, I can't wait to go to Jersey.
They still
I'm
do
like,
those
all right.
tours.
What's that?
Do they still do those tours?
They might, but she's like, you got to take me to the Sopranos house, and I'm just like, oh no.
Is that a real place?
Yeah, you can go see that house. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a little north of me, but it was funny because it was like she's like I said, I said if you want we could just drive out of the Lincoln Tunnel to my house, and that's basically the opening credits to Sopranos.
Like I can just play the song.
Yeah, put the song
Yeah,
on.
like
yeah.
like it'll be that. Like
Yeah.
we'll smoke cigars and we'll just get there and it'll
Woke
be
up this
fine.
moment, whatever.
I'll
Exactly.
call you Marone. It'll be great.
Yeah, like whatever you need to get your rocks off, like we'll do this for you. Like it's just very funny how that opening fucking credits is just glorifies the New Jersey Turnpike in a way that nothing else
should.
Nothing should.
What does a better job, being John Malkovich or Sopranos?
Sopranos, dude.
Yeah.
I think the Malkovich thing is very funny, and weird, and has its place. But I mean, the Sopranos opening theme is just
Good.
I never
It's
really watched that
iconic.
show.
I didn't either.
Sopranos?
I watched the first
Yeah.
3.5 seasons, then I stopped.
that's,
You never
I feel like
watched
I need to go
half
back.
the show.
That's like a lot of
Yeah.
Sopranos.
I think I need to go back to it though. Like I feel like all those like what do you call it? Not bucket list, but backlog type stuff. Like I'm finally halfway through Seinfeld, and that's been great to do for the first
Okay.
time. And like I feel like Sopranos is up there as far like I've seen all these weirder. Like I've seen all of Oz, but I haven't seen all of the Sopranos. Like
That's
I
not
should
weird.
Fix that.
It really
Oz
just
is
weird
depends
that-
on when you had HBO.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it was like
Oz is
DVDs,
before.
even like Oz and
Yeah.
Wire and all that stuff. All the HBO stuff I was watching on DVDs in college.
Mm.
Did you recently go through Seinfeld?
I'm halfway through season 4 right now.
Okay.
I just watched one right before this, actually. Yeah.
I recently watched like all of season 1 and 2, and I was in the time you don't realize it, but I was shocked how that show did not have its footing in season 1. Like that show is
not at all.
So weird and different.
Few
in season
did.
1.
Few did.
They-
I mean,
they-
like the whole
they
relationship
talk a
with
lot
Jerry and
about
Elaine
that.
was way more of a thing,
Yeah.
like, and it just becomes not a thing. And like the characters aren't really dialed in like Costanza
Yeah,
is, and
it's-
fully, what he is. He's not Larry David yet. I think
It's kind of the thing that they mirror in when they get to the episodes about them doing the version of the sitcom in the show, where it's like they're
Yes.
trying to format it in a way that seems more like a regular sitcom.
Mhm.
And then after a while, they realize they can just abandon that, and that makes it way better.
But that's what's so crazy to me is like that is a meta thing that like when I think of like 90s sitcoms, I don't think of like them getting meta. That wasn't a concept people talked about back then. And so like to do a show about making that show is like kind of a crazy thing for like network TV in 1993,
Yeah, I think that had been like flirted with before.
Like Simpsons probably did some stuff. We're talking like jokes about Fox or whatever, but
Sure.
But the 30 Rocks of the world did not exist yet.
no.
Yeah. I going back to Sopranos real quick.
Yeah.
I only watched it once all the way through. My brother like watches it all the time. He's obsessed with it. I know a lot of people who just like have to occasionally rip through that entire series. I just can't do it. I can't. I think some of it too is like the subject matter I find like not disturbing, but it's just not something I really want to experience again. Just like hyper violent garbage people and I also think like Sopranos like sent a lot of things in motion that we just can't really escape from, especially in the Northeast here.
Yeah, I have that same. Yes, that's kind of how I feel about like during The Sopranos. I felt like a little bit of like, oh boy, here we go, and then it's kind of, and then it was the Jersey Shore. And I guess there was a guy named Vinny on there too, and it was like, oh boy.
Like
You talking about like impressions and stereotypes and stuff of like, where they
it was
used-
when
yeah.
I had to start using Vincent everywhere I went to be like, no, it's Vincent from California, from San Francisco, and be like, oh, Vinny from the Jersey, and be like,
Yeah.
oh boy,
Yeah.
I like your impression of people doing that impression.
Vinny from New York,
The thing that show changed the culture of New Jersey, and it did, right, Vinny? Like it absolutely had a tangible impact.
I was still in New York at the time, but I was still in New York, but I was basically Long Island, so it was basically New Jersey. So it was but at the end, when did that show come out? Like
2000.
Sopranos was like late 90s. It's when it
So-
Started in the
I
late
think
90s.
99
Yeah.
was the first season. Right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So like it was it definitely. I mean, listen, Jersey went from being a toxic dump to being much more mafia based. That was the thing. Like
Can't it be both?
it was definitely.
I think it was
I
both
think it
for a
was
while.
both. But like the jokes were always, New Jersey is the dumping ground of New York, and it smells bad and all that
That's
stuff.
every SNL joke. As someone who grew up in the
Yeah.
Midwest, it's like that's all you knew is like somebody would just like a wrestler would shit on it, or a Weekend Update joke would be about
Yeah.
Jersey being stinky or something. You
yeah,
know?
and I think it went from that to being like, oh, it's just crime. It's just all crime all the way down. And then after that, from the Jersey Shore,
It's also drunken yahoos.
yeah, then it went to like, oh, it's just the worst people imaginable that want
Yeah.
like social media stardom and don't go. It just went Jersey Shore, and then I moved here and I brought it all back. I
I'm
raised the
almost
bar.
like jealous, even though they were like negative things. Like growing up in Kansas.
Oh yeah,
where
nobody's ever had a
fucking
bad thing to say
nothing-
about Kansas.
Yeah, nothing's ever set there. Like no video game. There's no Tony Hawk
It's like
levels
one
in
of the most
Kansas.
famous movies
That's
ever
the thing.
made.
Yeah, a movie that came out in fucking 1920. That fucking every time you go to an airport, you go, oh, not in Kansas anymore.
Also,
Yeah, you
also
can
let's
write
be real,
on
like
that.
7
Great.
minutes of that movie takes place in Kansas.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Kansas can't be holding on to Wizard of Oz.
Exactly. So that's the thing. I hear about like modern prestige television, like being set in your state, like numerous different pieces of pop
Yeah.
culture being set in and around your state. That sounded so cool to me. Where it's like Kansas is just like when people talk about that, it's like, oh, yeah, fly over it. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, the whole country was obsessed with New Jersey for a decade because of that show.
And then we
Like,
had Chris Christie, and we
Yeah.
were obsessed again for a little bit.
I mean, I always say this, but like, there's a lot of things that were like, what was worse for the state, right? Like, was it the Jersey Shore, Chris Christie, or Hurricane Sandy? Like, I don't know.
They're all natural disasters.
They're all natural disasters.
I've said this before. Growing up from New York, I had to kind of instinctively hate Jersey, but like Jersey's kind of awesome.
But where'd you settle?
But I settled down in Jersey because it's the most diverse state in the union. It's actually kind of amazing. And there are fantastic people here, and it doesn't smell that bad where I am.
And the food's great.
The food's fantastic. The only real problem I have with Jersey are the goddamn turnpikes and how I cannot get to Bakalar's house, which I can basically see from my backyard, without taking an hour and a half trip through like seven like highways and turnpikes. It's a real bummer. But yeah, Jersey's fantastic. Now, do they let you back in Long Island after you say things like that?
Well, see, this is
how I get out of Long Island.
But Alex, you know how it goes. It's a one-way street, okay?
You can't.
Okay, and to be completely fair, I have a lot of friends who make that one-way trip, and more often than not, it's from Long Island to New Jersey.
It's like they have like those spike strips where you can only drive over them one way.
Once you back up, you blow out every time.
They're just on the LIE. They're just like, oh, I see you're from Long Island. Oh, I see. No, it's like the opposite of a PBA card. Like, oh no, we're gonna double your fines. You went over there, huh? You can't come back.
True.
Here.
It's totally true.
The irony being that you're all basically the same people.
Oh, it's the same.
Yeah,
thing.
It's the same people.
It's one contiguous landmass with Manhattan in the middle. It's just
like someone just jabbed a fucking knife in between a big Italian sandwich.
Right. It's true. But I will say this, the further out east you get on the island, it starts to really change in a way where you're like,
that's the same thing with
this
Jersey.
Kansas?
Yeah, you get to South Jersey. What does Cape May have to do with the rest of Jersey?
So this is what's nuts to me. Listen, as someone from the outside, Long Island, Brooklyn and Queens are on Long Island, right?
Technically. There's the county line is where it separates, but yes.
But looking at a map, right, I'm not wrong in saying that like there's Manhattan Island there, there's Long Island, and Brooklyn and Queens is on there, right?
Yes.
In the same way that like, Maine and Connecticut are on the same mass of land,
Yes, you're right. Yes, they are part of Long Island.
Well, they're all part of New York State, so it's not really even that different. It's just that there is a county split where it's like this part is New York City, this part is not.
So if people say Long Island, they are never referring to
They
Queens
mean
or
never. They really mean Nassau County, and sometimes they mean Suffolk. If
they're willing to admit they're from Long Island, they have enough shame that they know if they said they were from New York City, that would go badly for them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
You can only go so far east before you can't say you're in Brooklyn anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like Bayside is like really on the border there.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're from New York. Where are you from in New York? Babylon. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
Alex, am I going to see you at a tennis stadium in Queens next month again?
Probably not this time.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have to wear a lucha mask this time to hide my identity. So
I know. You must feel so free now, being able to peruse other products publicly.
Yes, absolutely.
Wait, did you guys run into each other?
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw each
we
other
were
at
at the last
AW last year.
I didn't know
a
you saw each other.
lucha mask and a COVID mask to hide my identity.
God, I love it. That's great. Hide your identity.
I didn't know you saw each other.
Yeah,
we were in the same section.
I was like 5 rows ahead of you. Yeah.
Was it
See, I buy my
coincidental, or
lucha
did you guys
masks.
plan?
I just buy my lucha mask for fun. I don't buy them to hide my identity.
Yes.
Did you guys plan it, or did you just run into each other?
I think I knew you were going, but we got tickets from the same place, and so I think it was in the same. It was like a friends and family section.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
Yep.
That's great. The image of you with a lucha mask and that beard is frightening to me.
Well,
Yeah,
the second I got out of the Uber, someone looked at me and was like, Dan, giant bomb! And I was like, I don't think this works. All right.
It was Alex. He blew my cover. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, that Jersey's great. Long Island's great. Upstate New York is pretty good. Manhattan's fantastic. It's a great area.
You know what I like?
Western Jersey.
I love the Catskills. I love like that. I love it up there. I love like Woodstock.
You been to Kerhonkson?
Maybe.
I like
There's like a
Carhoxet.
ton of little villages and whatever the fuck
I know
up
that's what
there.
that place is called, but I feel like the way you said it would make people from there upset.
I think you
No,
said
man.
Carhoxet.
Dude, that's the thing. No one's upset up there. They're all super chill.
It
great.
is. It's hippie town up there.
It is, and I am not in any way. I don't identify as a hippie, but like there is something real nice up in the mountains.
You
there,
share a
and-
kinship.
Yeah, like it's just really chilled, really laid back. We were talking about like, you know, we're not there yet by any stretch, but like the joke in my house is like Stacy will retire in Florida and I will retire in Vermont, and we will see each other, you know, twice a year
Your
because
child will
I'll-
settle somewhere in the middle, so it's
He'll
an
figure it
equidistant
out.
trip.
you know, like I just don't want to be anywhere where it's hot all year round.
Oh,
You know,
got bad news.
I can't do it. You know, like my you know, all four of my grandparents retired to Florida, and I know my parents won't do that. Like they are not going to do that. So I just, but anyway, I feel like I could retire up there.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like in that mountainy Hudson
yeah.
Valley kind of area.
yeah.
It's awesome. I
That's
love
great.
it there.
I'm gonna go to Kansas.
Okay.
No one has ever said that.
I'm retiring Minnesota. Don't
You
do
know-
Kansas. Yeah.
No one's ever said, "Hey, you want to go on vacation to Kansas?"
No, it doesn't happen unless you're like the world's biggest barbecue fanatic. Yeah.
Or
That's
you're
me.
or you're from Nebraska, I guess.
If anyone has any tips on running into Letterman, I'm like 12 minutes from where he lives, so I just I'm not running into him.
Have you tried knocking on his door with a fake press pass?
Yeah, just print one out. That's
Yeah,
good.
late show, CBS press.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go raid the old CBS.
Mr. Letterman,
office.
you're on in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just wear that luchador mask.
Get
dude.
your old
Yeah.
CBS badge or like print it out and be like, "What is this? It's interactive. Just let's just hi. You're great. Do the pencil thing."
Something BlackRock. Anyway,
Yeah. Doesn't he do a show with people like driving in cars, interviewing people?
No, that's
He did
Seinfeld.
his
Doesn't he have
comedians
one?
in cars episode with Seinfeld was all shot right around where I live. So it's like now I watch that episode and it's like, oh, that's the grocery store. That's the Stu Leonards. That's the like.
But he doesn't
Yeah,
have his
right.
own. I thought he had his
Dude.
own.
He doesn't have his own grocery store. Well, he's got his Netflix
No, show.
he
which,
does like an
is
interview show.
But it's like so not like what I come to Letterman for. Like it's like him having like thoughtful
Yeah.
interviews with philanthropists and stuff.
He's
and
not
it's like,
being like a jokester.
I need him doing just like raging against
Shtick.
NBC. Like
Yeah.
he was, unfortunately, he was way more entertaining when he was deeply unhappy. It turns out, and now he's actually found peace
A
in
true
retirement
artist.
and his family, and he's just very just at peace and doing good and having these thoughtful conversations. And it's like, I want to see you strapping a camera to a monkey and have a
You
weird
brought up
conversation.
something we have to just touch on just for a second because I just went to my first one a couple months ago. Stu Leonards.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They got
you
animatronics in there.
Yo.
The hell's a Stu
Vinny?
Leonards?
Oh, look it up.
Oh,
They got
okay.
characters. They got things where you ring a bell and a bunch of animatronic cows. It's like Chuck E. Cheese
What?
mixed
Vinny,
with
I
a fucking
think there's-
grocery store. It's great.
I think there's one in Parsippany.
Oh, that can't
What?
exist.
No, it's
So-
great. We were blown
So
away.
it's basically like a Wegmans,
Okay.
but like kind of inexplicably better. Like it's more. There's only a couple of them, right? There's only like 6 of them
Is there?
in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. And they're like very like home baked goods, but like superstore.
Lots of
Huh,
sugary baked stuff and everything.
Like amazing
cheese, a lot of
baked-
cheese, a lot of
Was it
dairy
like an
stuff.
Entenmann's location, but bigger?
No, but it's just like a lot of fresh stuff made on the premises.
I can't stress the animatronics enough. They're like
I was in
animals
Long
playing
Island.
Yeah,
instruments.
I need
I-
a clarification on what the fuck this is.
I went to one in
Google it.
Long Island. I forget what
Stu
fucking town I was in. Stu Leonard's.
STEW. Leonards.
Yeah. I went on a trip. I was on like a guy's ski trip. Like in February.
To Long Island?
No,
Oh.
No, of course not.
Like
Why would
Vermont. And one of my buddies basically bought all the food we ate from Stu Leonard's and brought it up because he lives in Connecticut. And I was just like blown away. I was like, this food is so fresh and delicious. And he was
They got a petting
describing
zoo
this-
in the parking lot. You can like pet
Yeah.
a goat before you go in.
Oh, I didn't see that. That
Yeah.
changes things a little bit, but
Yeah.
All right,
it's,
the first image I'm seeing on their website is of what looks like a college football coach hugging a man in a cow suit. So
That
yeah.
sounds about right.
They're really into like farm animals there and shit.
Yeah.
can you buy the farm
it's-
animals?
I
You
don't
buy the
think you
stuff they
can-
make.
This looks like a
Yeah.
nightmare. There's like a giant
Vin-
banana with a
No,
dress.
Vinny, you would like it. You would like it. I'm
Are you
telling
sure? This
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm looking at this banana.
Are you sure there's a
Sounds like a
cow?
Fortnite
That's
character.
a weirdly sexy banana, dude. I don't know about this. I don't know about this at all.
All these images are terrible.
There's some good food. There's some good.
Yeah, it's
eating
really
there.
good stuff.
You'd be very like they make their own potato chips. Yo, oh my god, those were so.
There's got to be some
delicious.
dark secret at the center of this
Yeah.
place.
Oh,
right?
we don't want to pry into that. We don't want to disrupt the illusion.
It's,
You know.
this isn't good.
No, it's good.
It's very good.
It's
That
very
banana
good.
is. There's something wrong with that banana.
The guy who I think is Stu, man, that is a really puffy red guy.
Yeah, he's a puffy dude.
That
He's
is a
puffy
guy who
dude.
definitely looks like his doctor tells him to lay off the cholesterol.
Well, the whole store is like cholesterol
Yeah.
city. Yeah.
I was in the Farmingdale one, Vinny.
Okay, yeah, Farmingdale. I got family in
Yeah.
Farmingdale.
There's one in Paramus.
Oh.
You got like
In
photo
Jersey.
booths and stuff where it like puts you in a scene
It's
with
insane.
a cow.
Dude, it's a spectacle. You bring the kids and then like they've got all, like Dan said, there's all this animatronic shit all over the place. It's funny. It's just absolutely funny.
It's
Yeah. Just give it a shot. We'll go.
Okay.
We'll go together.
This guy looks like he looks like the auctioneer from Storage Wars.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably got a lot of medical issues, but
No, not medical issue. Like there is just an like, oh man, he looks like he's gonna have steam shooting out of his ears.
well, it's actually going to be just cholesterol coming out of his ears.
There's just like a cow here with like a child petting it, but it's looking back.
You know-
but then they're also just buying beef over there.
Yeah.
It's like,
You know what it is? You know what it is? You know how like this area, and I'm sure other places in the country are like they freak out over Halloween now. Like Halloween is like the way the farm makes all the money now. And
from,
it's
the
like
pumpkins and the
yeah, and like it starts September 1st and goes to like the end of November or whatever the fuck. If that became a huge grocery store.
Oh man.
I heard
That's
there's all
what it is
trunk or
now.
treat stuff now. Do they still do trick
What
or
the
treating?
fuck's that?
I heard that trick or treating they don't do anymore, and it's
No.
all trunk or treats.
No, we
No?
have trick or treaters here. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't let that kind of crap on my doorstep.
We wanted to do we wanted to be the cool house that had all the full size fucking Snickers bars and stuff. So we bought a ton of full size, bunch of different bars so kids could have a choice
Yeah.
and everything. We didn't have a single trick or treater last year. We sat around and
Really?
watched movies and we were ready
That's
to go.
the saddest fucking thing I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
we had this
It's
whole
like,
thing. We gave it to like FedEx guys and stuff for the next week. But
what the hell's
not a
wrong with
single
your neighborhood?
trick-or-treater.
How do you not have any kids there?
It's all the damn the high schoolers speeding down the road. Parents don't want to bring their kids down this death trap road because of all the high schoolers driving too fast.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and we had the city put in some speed signs.
Oh, good for you. Some
Yeah,
civic action.
I talked to a comptroller or something, and they
Yeah.
came down, and I went out and talked to them. I said, "Thanks, guys,
No
for doing
shit.
this. This is yeah,
No shit.
yeah. These fucking kids, man.
Just
They do
give them some
donuts.
money?
We got a roundabout, and the kids do fucking donuts up there.
Wow,
Here's
those
the-
kids, those teens.
These punks.
I think you are right and did the right thing, but I am really I'm like just an internal war with the part of me that just wants to call you the lamest motherfucker alive.
I don't care. I hear them revving their engines and doing their stuff, and like, listen, somebody's gonna get hit.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, again, that is the reasonable, right thing to do, but also what a fucking narc.
I love that you found the most Kansas ass part of Connecticut to live in.
There's no sidewalks.
That's what you
Everyone else,
found.
well, there's people walking their kids. Do you walk kids?
Exactly.
I don't know. There's people with strollers and stuff, and they're walking on the street, and then these damn kids driving fucking 70 down a 25.
I want to thank you, Dan, for taking it back around. And I just want you to say one more thing for me before we go. A, you're definitely not screaming, so I appreciate it.
Oh.
But I want you to say these damn kids speeding around with their blue smoke.
These damn kids speeding around with their blue smoke.
Yes.
Until I do this,
And their rap music.
No. Until I do this, I'm not fully my grandpa. I remember being at a red light with him when I was a kid, and we were parked and waiting for the light to change. There was one car in front of us, and the guy in front of us was just kind of like bouncing his head to the music, you know? And my my grandpa was just like, he's like grumbling. And I was like, what's the problem? And he goes, look at him up there. He's just shaking his head, just hipping and a hopping and a bipping and a bopping.
Oh, I remember this.
Until I say that. Until I say bipping and a bopping derisively.
I gotta hold you to it.
I regret to inform you, Dan, you have closed the distance on that one. It is not
seriously.
far off.
Right, exactly. You're an egging away. Did you check to make sure next to your snake poop there wasn't a brick that says "Dial Man" next to it? It's like
I'm gonna get the mayor on the horn.
I don't know why
putting snakes in my basement.
That story you just told reminded me of a story that happened with my mom when we were driving. I remember it was like the first time I ever got to ride in the front seat of the car. I don't know why, I just remember that. It was like a big deal. It's like 11 or 12 years old, whatever it is. And driving, the world is so new up there. You spent your whole childhood in the back seat and you're just like, whatever. Get the front seat. It's like, oh, fuck. It's serious business up here.
Yes.
We were at a stoplight and there was people to our left and they were just playing music, not super loud, but like fake drumming. Totally benign.
Rocking
like
out.
The most,
Punks.
Not cursing, not being
bipping
a
and a
nuisance,
bopping.
not even bipping or bopping.
Okay.
My
Up
mom
to no
goes
good
to me.
though.
No, they seemed perfectly fine. My mom turns to me. She goes, "If you ever drive like that, I'll fucking kill you."
Wow.
That is what she said to me. And I'm just like, and I'm like a good boy back then. I'm just like, haha, okay, mom, like whatever. And then, what the fuck was that?
And then the guy stopped doing the drum solo and looked over at you and winked and like had like a flame tattoo on his arm or something and
he's
puffed
like,
some blue smoke and then
he's like, "This is your future."
Yeah,
kid."
and was like, "I think he's a hockey player, Mom." I think that's Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, what a fucking wild moment I just had time traveling like
Kelly
that.
Rudy, Mom. That's the
Can't
only
trust
other
those
hockey
drummers.
players.
Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
It's Gordie Howe.
All right, let's wrap this one up. Boy, howdy. Dan, I hope you figure out what's going on with your snake in your basement.
I'll update you. I'm sure it'll be resolved by the time this airs in like late 2027.
That's right. Yes, the snake will be moved in.
I'm just going to give you one last piece of advice. Have you considered keeping the snake and becoming the next Jake the Snake Roberts?
Yeah, claim it as a dependent.
Oh, I'm only Jake the Snake if I let like 19 of them die under my care. So
No, be better than him.
I'd like to think. I'd like to.
Yeah, low bar, Alex.
I mentioned
Real
this
low
very
bar,
He
dude.
seems like a well-liked guy now, but he's had some times.
No, he had some problems.
Yes.
Bakalar, thank you very much. Feel free to drive like that whenever you want in my company.
I do, man.
Yeah.
Not in Connecticut.
Live your life. My son, a parent friend drove my son home with their kids, and I told the story on another podcast, but it was the first time he sat in the front seat, and his friend said, "Max, you gotta live life."
He's right. He's right. It's a whole different ball game in the front.
Game. You gotta live, man.
Every day, my kid's like, "Can I do it today?" And I'm like,
man.
"No, dude, you got like 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Like, chill, dude.
You're gonna
Can't
get
wait.
there. You're gonna
He
get
can't
there.
wait."
He's just like crossing off days on the calendar, like shaky hand.
He's like, I'm probably heavy enough for an airbag, right? I'm probably heavy enough now. I'm like, I don't know,
The
dude.
airbag itself is heavier than you.
I want
Seriously.
to be in that back seat with all those buckles. Let's put me back there.
It seems more, at this point, it seems more fun back there.
Alex, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see your Lucha Mask collection. I know you've expanded it.
I have, yes.
I'm gonna make you that shelf someday.
I seriously, I'm now at the brink.
I love it.
I may if I add even one.
How many do you have?
It's all gonna topple over.
How many do you have?
Like good ones?
Yeah, like ones you display.
9.
Nice.
That's good. Are they all on mannequin heads?
Yes, they are.
Oh my gosh, you have 9 mannequin heads?
All right, that's not a problem.
Well, I have some
that's
other
not a
ones
problem.
too, but those are ones that just have like my cheap repro masks on that I like.
That's so cool. Good for you.
Al
That's
Snow,
on a
Al
different
Snow had
shelf.
I was
83,000 of
trying to
them.
think of a good Al Snow joke. Good job, Bakalar.
Thank you. I did a wrestling thing.
Yeah, nice.
All right. Thanks, you guys. We'll be back next month with more Never Been a Better podcast. See ya.